Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Soon-to-be Catholics make one more important step on their journey. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
Meet the priest who created an international ministry for widows and children and grew it into a hospital and schools for hundreds of children in Nigeria. I'm Kathy Harrington, and I'll have his story.
And 2 Catholic high school athletes reached the 1,000-point milestone in basketball. It's all just ahead on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this second weekend of the Lenten season. So often we hear of people leaving the church, but that's not the story of more than 150 people who can't wait to become Catholic, to receive Jesus in the Eucharist, and to be confirmed with the gifts of the Holy Spirit at the Easter Vigil. Last Sunday, they took part in a very important step on their faith journey. Carolee McGrath was at St. Michael's Cathedral for the rite of election.
On the first Sunday of Lent, more than 150 people with a desire to be Catholic gathered with their families at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield for the annual rite of election and the call to continuing conversion. 47 catechumens and 109 candidates are enrolled in the rite of Christian initiation of adults and children. They will complete the sacraments of initiation, which include baptism, First Communion, and confirmation, during the Easter Vigil at their home parishes Saturday, March 30th.
I'm very excited to do it. I waited for many, many years to do it now.
85-year-old Jane Allen, who was baptized Baptist, will receive Jesus in the Eucharist for the very first time at the Easter Vigil and make her confirmation. She and her husband raised their 3 daughters Catholic. She was overwhelmed with joy and emotion, talking about her journey.
I'm on my way to becoming a Catholic, and I finally decided that after 62 years of attending Mass with my husband John, that I was probably more Catholic than I was Baptist, and it was time for me to make the decision.
The rite of election is for catechumens who were never baptized. During the ceremony, Bishop William Byrne asked them to stand along with their godparents, asking them if they wished to enter fully into the life of the Church through the sacraments. During the rite, the catechumens came forward to sign their name in the Book of Elect. The catechumens are now called members of the elect. Next, in the celebration of the call to continuing conversion, the bishop asked the candidates to stand. Candidates are those who have been baptized Catholic or in another Christian denomination. They too will complete their sacraments of initiation at the Easter Vigil. 11-year-old Gabriela Rodriguez will enter the church with her mom, dad, and 2 siblings.
I'm very excited. We're going to be doing it at the same time.
I waited for a long time to be able to do this because when I was little, my family didn't take the time to do that. It's like having a new relationship altogether with God.
Each year, tens of thousands of people are welcomed into the Catholic Church at the Easter Vigil. It's a reminder that God is still calling us, and all we have to do is answer Him.
It just gives me such faith for our church. We hear such negative things in the news all the time about the Catholic faith, and then I look at the people that are knocking down the doors trying to join our faith. So it just lets me know that Jesus is alive and living, and the Spirit is moving amongst the Diocese of Springfield. It's gorgeous.
Bishop Byrne challenged the 150 soon-to-be Catholics to be Christ in a world that desperately needs Him.
You're now going to be the arms of Christ in the world to bring His love, His kindness, His truth, His courage, His faith that needs it so desperately.
And that's also the duty of all Catholics, to bring the love of Jesus to everyone we meet. Reporting for Reel to Reel in Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Okay, we're ready for a photo? Okay. More than 5,400 miles from his southeastern Nigeria homeland, Father Kingsley Ihajirika serves the faithful here in the Diocese of Springfield. on his journey from Nigeria to Northampton, where he now serves as the administrator of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, Father Kingsley earned a wealth of knowledge that includes 3 bachelor's degrees, 2 master's degrees, and a PhD. Kathy Harrington brings us the story now of how his priestly ministry works to restore hope and dignity to the widows and orphans of his native community.
I was born in a moving vehicle, now on the way to the hospital.
For Father Kingsley Ihajirika, that was just one foretelling of his life's mission. Another came 13 months later when Mom's health was failing and she went to church, spending her final night sleeping behind the altar with her baby in her arms.
I believe that it was really like I am going away. I have nowhere or no one else to entrust my baby.
At first, his father provided care, but eventually he ended up in foster care. It was post-Civil War time in Nigeria, and his family was on the losing side, the war leaving economic hardship for southeastern Nigeria that continues today.
After the Civil War, a lot of the men had to leave their families to go to the northern part of Nigeria to look for opportunities, and they ended up getting killed.
Eventually, his father became successful and provided his children an education while helping to support war widows and their children. Father Kingsley received a Catholic school education, including major seminary. Ordained a priest in 2003 in the Archdiocese of Owerri, the young priest used his monthly salary to financially support a group of widows and their children, their plight reminding him of his mother. Receiving a papal scholarship for the College of St. Paul in Rome was a privilege, but for Father Kingsley it also meant leaving the widows. Meeting Pope Benedict for just a minute, Father Kingsley explained to the Holy Father the ministry he had left behind and asked for his prayers.
And he prayed, he says, "Que il Signore benedica la tua missione," which means, may the Lord bless your ministry to these poor women.
The next summer, while on temporary assignment at St. Helen Parish in New Jersey, he was befriended by a couple, moved to tears by the photos of Father Kingsley and the widows.
I went back to Rome. Less than a month after I went back, Paula calls me and says, "Father, how about registering this organization as a nonprofit?"
Soon the Divine Mercy International Widows and Orphans organization was registered and incorporated as a nonprofit, and fundraising efforts were underway.
We have had long years of maladministration, governments that only care to embezzle money, corruption that is at an unimaginable proportion. People get into power and all they care to do is to use public money to enrich themselves and their families. So there's no budget to either build roads or maintain them. There's no budget to build schools, no budget to build hospitals.
In 2017, Father Kingsley was assigned to the Most Holy Trinity Parish in Wallingford, Connecticut. He was given an opportunity to share about the Divine Mercy International Widows and Orphans organization and the need for a medical facility. Car washes, bake sales, rummage sales, a wine tasting, and bingo, just some of the ways money was raised. In August of 2018, it was time to break ground for the clinic designed by a local architect.
I cannot even begin to tell you how happy I am.
Construction was underway in Obiki, while fundraising efforts continued here to supply the clinic. By 2023, it was ready to open and serve the village and 4 neighboring communities.
And you can walk in there and receive care even when we are gone. It gave them a lot of hope.
Divine Mercy International Widows and Orphans next set out to break the cycle of poverty, providing a future through education. On the same property, 3 schools of the Divine Mercy American International Academy were built, K through 12, with a capacity of 500 students. Ribbon cuttings for the buildings took place in January.
Who would like to go to school here? Say yeah. Yeah!
Fresh from the school opening celebrations, Father Kingsley is back at his Northampton parish, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, patron saint of widows and Catholic schools. One young parishioner was especially happy to see Father Kingsley, the feeling mutual. His ministry and the faces of children fill him with joy.
It's almost like a carnival, okay? They're happy, they are grateful, they just want to spend time with you because you symbolize hope, okay? You symbolize, encouragement, joy, and support and care.
One widow, one orphan at a time, Father Kingsley's ministry is changing the world. I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
The cost of a child's education at the Divine Mercy American International Academy is just $600. If you would like to support the Divine Mercy International Widows and Orphans organization, we have a link on our website at iobserve.org. And still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel, we'll preview an all-day symposium addressing how to help those with mental health struggles. And 2 Catholic high school athletes join the 1,000 Point Club in basketball. It's all still to come on Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio, see 1, 2, 2, and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
I'm Carolee McGrath, filling in for Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. The Lenten campaign of the 40 Days for Life is underway and runs through Sunday, March 24th. Volunteers are very much needed to pray in front of Planned Parenthood in Springfield. This is a peaceful, prayerful witness that works. National organizers report that since the first campaign in Texas in 2007, 24,000 babies have been saved from abortion. Locally, organizers know of 26 mothers who have chosen life. Parishes or individuals are asked to sign up to cover hours in front of the clinic. It is important to note that even though Roe v. Wade was overturned, Massachusetts has one of the most progressive abortion laws in the country. To sign up for the 40 days, go to iobserve.org. Arriving in New York City in 1889, Italian immigrant Francesca Cabrini is greeted by disease, crime, and impoverished children. She soon sets off on a daring mission to convince the mayor to secure housing and health care for society's most vulnerable. With broken English and poor health, Cabrini uses her skills to build an empire of hope unlike anything the world has ever seen. Cabrini, a film about the life of St. Francis Cabrini, the patron saint of immigrants, opens in theaters March 7th. Here's a preview.
I was told that you were rejected by 3 different orders, each time for weakness of constitution.
Your Holiness, we can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both.
My sisters, if we are to build an empire of hope, it seems we must first conquer New York.
Filthy Dagos. They just keep coming.
Mio papà si è suicidato e mia mamma è morta di tifo.
In America, the greatest nation on earth, rats have it better than the children of 5 Points.
It's not safe. Not for you. Be careful. This place will eat you alive.
Doctors tell me 5 years.
5 would be a miracle.
In that case, I should get to work. I need an orphanage with more room, where my children can be children.
I'd like you to keep your crime and your filth out of this neighborhood. the mayor will find a way to get you out.
You have an election coming up, do you not?
I believe I'm being threatened by a nun.
You have swatted the hornet's nest.
Get out, Dagum! Go!
I want the best hospital for your people and for mine. We have to show America we are all people of dignity.
This project is overly ambitious, perhaps unrealistic.
We are bold, or we die. This is how I learned to live in America.
Cabrini, a film about the life of St. Francis Cabrini, the patron saint of immigrants, opens in theaters March 7th. This past week, UMass and the Newman Catholic Center lost a much-beloved alumnus, George Trigger Burke. Burke is a basketball legend on the UMass campus and a big benefactor of the Newman Center over the years. Steve Kiltonic has the story.
On February 14th, George Trigger Burke, longtime benefactor of the Newman Catholic Center and UMass Amherst, died peacefully in his home. He was 91. Burke was a respected and distinguished alumnus of UMass and became synonymous with the Newman Center on the UMass campus. From 1954 to 1956, Burke was a standout guard on the UMass basketball team. In 1956, he became the first player to lead the team in scoring and assists in the same season. That year, Burke was a second-team All-American selection and first-team All-East, All-New England, and All-Yankee Conference. He became known as Trigger because he rarely missed a shot. Burke held all the scoring records until they were broken by the legendary Julius Dr. J. Irving. Burke's jersey, number 32, was retired to the rafters of the Mullen Center, along with Irving, who shared the same number. After UMass, Burke played one season with the Boston Celtics. While athletics gave Burke instant recognition, it was his strong faith passed down from his mother, Ruth, that guided him throughout his life.
She just was a wonderful woman, but she gave me the greatest gift I've ever received in my life, and that was my Catholic faith, which I have to this day. I believe very deeply in the church.
Burke and fellow Minuteman teammate David Bartley were both members of the Newman Club in the mid-1950s.
It helped me tremendously because I have a deep faith, and I believe deeply in the Newman Center and in the Catholic faith.
He remained close with Bartley over the years and attended many UMass dedications like Newman's 50th anniversary Mass. Burke went on to a successful law career, practicing until he was 89. His public service included positions as mayor of Quincy, Mass State Representative, and District Attorney of Norfolk County. George never forgot his alma mater and resurrected the UMass Athletic Hall of Fame, named in his honor with a sizable donation. He received a Newman Award in 2003 for his many contributions and service to the center. The Quincy native also worked tirelessly as the honorary chairperson for the center's capital campaign. In 2021, he donated $500,000 to assist in the construction of the Newman Center's new facility.
I encourage everyone to go to the Newman Center, to be part of the Newman Center, and make it part of their life.
The Newman Center acknowledged Burke's generosity with the naming of Our Lady Seat of Wisdom Chapel in his honor. George Trigger Burke is survived by his 2 siblings, 5 children, a great-grandchild, and many loving nieces and nephews. In Springfield, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
And we certainly send out our prayers for Trigger Burke and his family. And you can read more on these and other stories at iobserve.org, where you can find articles from our Catholic communications staff and our partners at Our Sunday Visitor, as well as on-demand episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Carolee McGrath, and those were your Reel to Reel news briefs.
The Elms College and the Diocese of Springfield are once again joining forces to hold a symposium, this year tackling the topic of mental health challenges coming out of the pandemic and how we can take a pastoral approach to helping those who are struggling. Carolee McGrath recently spoke with event organizers about what the event will cover.
And I'm joined by Father Mark Stelzer, who is the pastor of St. Mary's in Hamden, and Sister Melinda Pellerin, who is a pastoral minister at St. Mary's in Longmeadow. You're both working on this symposium for mental health that is coming up in just a few weeks. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Father, this is the second time that you have brought this to the diocese. It's going to be at Elms College. Why was this something important to do?
Actually, it's a team of us that have been working, the diocese working with the Elms. And we realized that even though the acute phase of the pandemic is over, that many people during the pandemic either developed or experienced increasing difficulties with addiction issues and certainly mental health issues. And so last year's symposium was focused primarily on the addictive piece, and this year we're looking more at the mental health issues that have surfaced, especially since the pandemic.
Now, Sister, I know that you have a background in addiction help and counseling. What particular things have you seen or noticed since the pandemic?
Since the pandemic, I've noticed older people with this problem. It's called co-occurring or dual diagnosis, which is mental health and addiction. And it's particularly a problem in an older individual because it manifests itself a lot quicker than over years, and so you're really finding that as a phenomenon. When I ended my classes in school, we were talking more and more about older individuals and the dual diagnosis of mental health and addiction.
And do you think isolation must be part of it,
It's
right?
part
I mean,
of it.
I think about just so many people who are still afraid to go to church, right? And you must encounter that.
Certainly, it's not only with church, but many people who were in recovery and doing well in recovery, all of a sudden when the pandemic came, 12-step meetings were no longer available. And so we saw a huge spike in the number of people relapsing during those years just because they didn't have that social interaction that are at the heart of 12-step recovery.
And you have different speakers, obviously, this year. Can you tell us about the speakers?
We do. We have two speakers. One is Dr. Eric Randstrom, who's a native of the diocese, a native of Agawam. He has a doctorate in theology from Boston. He specializes in spirituality. And currently he's a clinician at St. John Vianney outside of Philadelphia, which is a treatment center specializing in the care of clergy and religious living with addictive disorders. And our other presenter is Dr. Ariel Laudermilk, who lives in Longmeadow, and she works as a clinician for the VA. And we know so many veterans, even before the pandemic, experienced so many mental health issues as a result of trauma, PTSD that they've been living with, and also the addiction issues. So we look forward to welcoming these two experts to the Elm. The good news and the emphasis of the symposium in last year's is that recovery is possible, that treatment does work and recovery is possible, and that people can and do get better. And that's the great hope of these days.
Yeah, that's very encouraging for so many families. Thank you so much for putting this on and being with us today. And if you would like more information about the symposium, please email or register with Celeste Labby at c.labby@diospringfield.org. And Sharon, we're going to send it back to you.
And again, we have information on how you can take part on our website at iobserve.org. Finally today, two Catholic high school basketball players recently achieved career milestones. Steve Kiltonick spoke with the star basketball players who are the newest members of the 1,000 Point Club.
On January 22nd, the Pope Francis girls basketball team celebrated its 7 seniors for their contributions on the hard court, including Isabella Meadows, the team's veteran point guard. In that night's game against Mount Greylock, Meadows was 11 points away from the elusive 1,000-point scoring mark. Early in the second period, Isabella dribbled and launched it from the three-point line.
And get it right here! It goes! It goes! It's 1,000! It's 1,000 for Bella Meadows!
Meadows was hugged by teammates, and the game was paused momentarily to acknowledge the record as her family joined in the celebration. Isabella led the Lady Cardinals with 26 points as Pope won handily by 40. At a team practice preparing for his first Western Mass playoff game, Isabella relived the record-setting game.
It felt unreal to me, especially just because it was senior night, we had supporters, and obviously all my family was there. It felt like it wasn't real because everyone was just like jumping on me and everything. It felt amazing. It was just everyone supporting me. They wore shirts that had like my face on it, and my family's just so supportive, so that really helped over the years too.
As a freshman starting her basketball career, Meadows had doubts about reaching 1,000. Only one other girl in the school's history, which includes Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic, set the record.
My goal was to hit my 1,000 points, but since COVID, my freshman year, I didn't know if it was possible.
Norris Cuevas is in his second year as head coach of the 14-6 Cardinals. Last year, the girls won their division, and they repeated this year.
It was great to see her get that because she's been working hard for 4 years. Since her freshman year, the scoring for both ends, and she doesn't stop.
Cuevas had nothing but praise for Meadows, who also was voted All-Conference and All-Western Mass Honors 3 years running.
Leadership. She's the motor of the team on defense and on offense. So her leadership gets us going. She gets us going from the beginning.
Isabella, who broke many school records in soccer, thanked her teammates.
They are so supportive of me in every manner, even with soccer and in basketball. We just encourage each other, and that really helped me to not get nervous or anything like that. So it really has pushed me throughout the last 4 years.
At St. Mary's High School, sophomore Sam Brigham matched Meadows, scoring his 1,000th point on President's Day for the 17-3 Saints. Earlier in the season, Sam poured in 48 points against Gateway, breaking the single-game scoring mark of 44 set in 1980 by Todd Collins, the older brother of Principal Matt Collins. Only 8 players have scored 1,000 points in St. Mary's long athletic history. This season, Brigham's averaged nearly 30 points a game. He scored over 40 twice. Coming into the game against Hampshire Regional, he needed 10 for the record. In the first period, Sam hit a variety of jumpers and three-pointers to get close. In the second quarter, he got the clincher on a free throw. The game was stopped as Sam was congratulated by his coach and teammates. He was joined at midcourt by his proud parents, Julie and Jeremy Brigham. What does it feel like to join the 1,000-point club?
I have no words, really. It's a crazy feeling. It's a big step for my game. It's crazy. It doesn't feel real.
Sam said hitting the 1,000 mark was the culmination of his basketball career, which began when he was about 5.
It was a goal, but I wasn't sure if I was going to reach it. I wasn't really going for it, but it's crazy that it happened now.
Joe Moltos coached high school basketball 40 years, the last 13 at St. Mary's.
We're very lucky at St. Mary's to have a special player like Sam. To score 1,000 points in 2 years is a remarkable feat. And he's very talented, and he's very unselfish. He has a great sense of how to play the game, and he's also very good defensively. Sam is definitely the best player at his age as a sophomore that I've ever coached. He's by far the best pure basketball player and most intelligent basketball player I've coached as a sophomore.
Sam's entire extended family was at the game cheering him on.
He loves playing basketball all year round, and so for him to have that success, I'm so happy for him.
How about you, Mom?
Same thing. That kid was born with a basketball in his hand, so I'm glad that he's being able to do something so great.
Sam broke the single-season scoring mark, which stood for 43 years, and now has 1,000 career points. I asked which of those 2 record breakers was more memorable.
Honestly, probably this, because I get a banner for this. I get my name on the banner, not for the scoring record.
High above the floor of the St. Mary's High School gym, Sam Brigham's name will be stitched on the green and gold banner along with the other Saints players who are lifetime members of the magical 1,000-point club. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
We'll continue to follow Isabella and Sam's progress as Pope Francis and St. Mary each begin play in the upcoming state tournament. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. We thank you so much for watching our program today, and be sure to follow the latest news on the Catholic Church both here in Western Massachusetts and around the world on our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you will find articles from our Catholic Communications reporting team and our partners at Our Sunday Visitor. That's iobserve.org, and we are also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. I'll see you right back here next week at this same time for Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Enjoy your week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.